Once upon a time, and in a land not quite far away, there was a family. A mother and a father and their 6-year-old daughter. It was Saturday. They were headed to see a movie. They were stopped on the highway at a red light. They had done nothing wrong. And then suddenly a car came up from behind and hit them. Their car screamed into the intersection, the light still red, into the path of an oncoming semi. None of the three of them survived. The driver behind them walked away without a scratch. This is a true story taken from St. Cloud Times in 2005. It happened in St. Cloud on Highway 10. The problem is that people are texting while driving. And yes, this is a problem. According to the American Journal of Public Health in 2008, there were 20 million texts sent in 2002 by people who were behind the wheel. In 2008, that number had jumped to 110 million a month by people who were texting while driving. Now, this rate is growing exponentially. If it's grown from 20 million to 110 million in just 6 years, imagine what it's done now, 5 years later. Also, 77% of teenagers think that texting while driving is safe, or at least safe enough to not get in an accident. This was taken from the Department of Transportation in 2009. Also from that source, 55% of those surveyed said that they believe they can multitask and do other functions while driving. They also said that doing so is easy, and 52% of those surveyed admitted to sending a text while behind the wheel within a week of the survey. 18% of people last year who were involved in an accident admitted that they were texting while driving. This was also taken from the Department of Transportation, although in a different survey performed in 2012. Again, this is from just last year. That ratio is 1 in 6. And one more source, which I'm not going to cite. I personally have seen 4 people in this room who have been texting and driving just over the past week. 6 people in our class. Now, that proves that these numbers, they're real. This problem, it doesn't just cause death. Before that, it causes poor driving performance. At 55 miles an hour, the average text takes maybe about 4.5 seconds to read. That's like traveling the length of a football field, blindfolded, not able to see anything in front of you. Texting also makes you 23 times more likely to get into an accident, as stated by the Department of Transportation in 2009. And if that's not enough for you, then Car and Driver did a study in 2009 about how texting while driving is actually 27 times safer, less safe than driving while you're intoxicated. So if you really want to risk it, go drive drunk. It's much safer than driving while texting. And I'm not joking. The St. Cloud Times have also written a numerous amount of articles about texting while driving and the fatalities that can cause over the past 5 years. If you dig back, I'm sure you can find them. Now, we need to stop texting and driving. It's really not that hard. And again, I know we've all heard this before, but apparently it's not getting through. It's not getting through to the United States because people are still doing it. 100 million texts sent per month. And it's not getting through to kids in Sartell either. And it isn't really that difficult. It actually takes less effort than texting behind the wheel. It's simply turning off your phone every time you get in the car. Maybe putting it in the center console or in the glove department. Maybe putting it in your pocket so long as you resist the urge to take it out and look at it. Plus, if you're absolutely expecting a text, then bring someone with you. You don't have to read it. As long as it's not super personal, your friend can text them back. LOL isn't that hard to type in, even if it's not your phone. Now, how will this help? Well, I'm hoping none of you have gotten in an accident related to texting before, but it could happen. And are you really willing to risk it on the fact that it might not happen to you? Again, driving while intoxicated is safer than driving while texting. And I hope none of us in here have done that either. Now, if people do stop texting while driving, they will break several bad habits. The first of which is texting while driving, obviously. But there are also several studies that show, statistically speaking, if you resist the urge to use your cell phone, you develop better driving habits in general. Studies show that 15% of the time spent by people who text while drive is spent outside of their lane, sometimes even in oncoming traffic. Now, not sure about you, but I would prefer not to risk a head-on collision with some random stranger. They tend to kill people. Also, you appear to other drivers as more safe when you're not texting and driving. They can see that you're not swerving over the road, they can see that you're not suddenly swerving back into your lane, and if they actually look at you, they can see that you've got your eyes on the road and not on your hand or worse, at your crotch. So, next time you get in a car, use a little bit of sense. I know we've all seen those bumper stickers that say, hey, shut up and drive. Well, apparently a lot of us are still talking. So next time you get in a car, don't risk someone's life. Stay smart. And just put your phone away. It really is that simple.